Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining me on another great interview. Today I'm interviewing Jared Schuster, who's been one of the best contributors to the group as far as I'm concerned. I love reading his posts and I hope you do too. So Jared, please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, those sort of things.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. Hello, Art of Channeling group. What an awesome experience this has been so far. And this is such an honor to be connecting with you all out there. And hopefully now you're putting a face to my daily writings. So as David said, my name is Jared Schuster. I am a metaphysical teacher. I'm a spiritual guide. I'm a retreat host. I am what I would call a light worker. I'm somebody who is very dedicated to raising the vibration of our world in whatever way that is. A little bit about my backstory of where I come from. About 12 years ago, I decided to step off the conventional path and start pursuing this idea of what is my soul purpose, and also what does retirement look like at the same time. So at 22, I started asking these questions. If I could retire now, what would that look like? And that question started haunting me, and it started becoming my obsession. And it led me to start my travels around the world. What began as a 3-month trip backpacking all around Europe in my early 20s, soon led to 6 months around Southeast Asia and India. While I was in India, I booked myself into a 30-day, 200-hour yoga teacher training. That was my first real taste of doing this inner work that I talk a lot about. With the tools that I gained from India, I was convinced I was supposed to come back to the States and become a yoga instructor and share these teachings from the East and bring them to the West. The way that I tell the story is that the universe had something very different in store for me. I was home for 2 weeks from my time in India. I was driving home from work one night and I was involved in a head-on collision. I had both my legs broken, scarring all over my body, and just a whole lot of trauma to heal. 1 year in my bed to do the inner work. This was my time to go within and start connecting to what I would call source, what I would call spirit, what I would call my highest self, to really do the digging and start facing my shadows. As soon as I was well enough to walk again, I booked myself into a 12-day, 5-ceremony shamanic healing retreat center in the Andes Mountains of Ecuador. Working with sacred plant medicine, studying under indigenous shamans, radically changed my life forever. Happy to go into stories about that if you're curious. My second ceremony changed me forever. It was some of the hardest work I'd ever done in my entire life, but it was some of the most freeing. It was about a 20-hour ceremony, and that was where I was faced with all the trauma that I had been holding on to since I was a child. I learned the tools to fully let it go, release, feel my own personal wings and breathe into the vastness that they are. And it was then that I went to the owner of the center and I just explained, I have to be a part of this. I have so much more work to do on myself, but I'm here to serve others. I want to learn how to truly hold space, how to show up for humanity in this way. So she told me to come back in a few months and I could live there, I could work there. So I was living in Los Angeles at the time. I went back to Los Angeles. I sold everything I owned down to just a 33-liter backpack. And I moved my life to the Andes Mountains of Ecuador, where I soon became a manager of this healing center. For the next 6 months, I was part of over 200 people's personal healing journeys back to self. People from all walks of life, from all over the world. Every ailment, disease, stressor, disconnect that you could think of came through this place. And I was witness and part of each person's connection back to their self. When my time there came to an end, I moved myself to a little fishing village on the coast of Ecuador, where I spent 6 months just reintegrating and downloading and processing all the magic and healing and wonders that I experienced in Ecuador. And then when my time, or in the mountains, and then when my time in Ecuador finally came to a close, I was divinely led to where I am today to do the work that I'm doing in San Diego, California.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that? What do you do in San Diego, California?
Of course. So my business and brand is called Sparks of Consciousness. So I run metaphysical workshops. I know you're very familiar with one of them that I've hosted. You were one of my participants, I believe 2 months ago now, called
Yep.
The Art of Living Your Dreams. I work with people on spiritual development. Our whole world right now is going through a transitionary period. And a lot of it comes down to choice of how are you choosing to show up at this next phase of humanity? What is this inner voice that so many people are starting to hear? So I work with a lot of clients as they're transitioning into new careers, new relationships, wanting to attract more wealth and abundance, just have a general stronger livelihood, purpose, and passion for life. As of about a month ago, I've officially started hosting my own retreats as well. It's something that is slow in the making, but that is where things are headed for me, of finding some land, cultivating the earth, building intentional community, and hosting healing retreats, bringing my tools and lessons that I've learned from around the world, but most specifically from Ecuador, and replicating it wherever I'm supposed to, wherever the land shows up in this world.
And where is the land? That's really pretty interesting.
Where the future land?
Yeah. Or did you find something yet, or are you still looking?
I believe in my core that it's going to present itself where it's supposed to. There's 3 places that really ring true to me, and that would be Mexico. I live very close to Mexico, and I love being in that environment. Northern California, Big Sur is such a charged, energetically place. And also I love Portugal. So that's where I'm setting my intention to, and I'm just allowing myself to be guided exactly where it's meant to be.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I didn't know that you got to be manager of that place. That's really wild. Uh, I'm sure that got you up close and personal with a lot of stuff going on.
I call my time there, if you have ever seen the Harry Potter or X-Men,
Mhm.
I've been to Harry Potter school. I've been to the X-Men training academy. I was manager of the training academy. And I mean, we say that and we smile, but it was the real deal. Every day was like healing and things that the Western world could never explain. There's no words for what experience is that happened there. So it was so cool to be a part of that kind of magic in our world.
So how did you find that place in the first place?
I want to say I was divinely led there. When I was in Indonesia during my Southeast Asia trip, I had met a girl who had just come from working with one of the plants that they offered there. Some of you are familiar, it's a plant called Ayahuasca. And I had never heard of it. This was before it became more mainstream as it is today. And I became fascinated with her journey of what led her to work with this plant. We spent hours sharing and talking and getting to know one another. And as the night came to an end, she left me with the words, "Don't seek it out. If you're meant to work with it, it will call you. These plants have a consciousness of their own." And at the time, it's like, what does that mean? Okay, something's going to call me. And then you forget, like all these conversations you have, they plant seeds, but we just go on with our lives and kind of forget that they ever happened. Flash forward home from Indonesia and India, processing, dealing with the trauma of this car accident. I just started listening. I started tuning in, and it's so true. It was such a calling that looking back, I don't remember the steps that I took to get there. Of course, it was some research online. I remember debating between Peru and Ecuador. And next thing I knew, there I was at the center in Ecuador, and everything just felt right. I was right where I needed to be. I was guided there. And, looking back on it now, it's like, without a doubt, that was strapping me with my PhD for life. That was strapping me with the tools of what I'm bringing to the world today. It made me who I am today, for sure.
So did you go there for more of a physical healing experience, or mental, or both?
It was soul healing. Absolutely. The way that I have understood this kind of work is, in Western society, we're very taught to put Band-Aids over our wounds. We fall down, we scrape ourselves, we Band-Aid it, and we let it scab over, but we're never addressing the core of what it is. We're very symptom oriented. What this kind of work does is it's not pretty, but it's very effective, and it rips those Band-Aids off, and it puts a mirror right in front of you, and you have nowhere to run but face that mirror. And in a culture where we're taught to run away from this mirror, the real work happens is when you stare down that mirror and say, I'm not going to let you control me anymore. I'm not going to let you weigh me down anymore. It's time to heal this. So it's healing on a cellular level. And a lot of the work that came through there, you see how rapidly the body responds when we do work on a cellular level. So the physical follows, as opposed to treating the physical and doing the cellular level. This is Eastern medicine at its finest, of going to the source of what it is. And the source is usually a blockage in the brain or a blockage in the heart. If you know the chakras of the body, it's different energy portals that may be blocked in you. So I did see physical healing quite often. One of the ceremonies was a sweat lodge, an 8-hour sweat lodge where our shaman would mix ayahuasca and San Pedro. And there was a real quick story. There was a man who sat behind me. I did many of the sweat lodges. I love them. And he had partial paralysis in his fist. And for over 5 years, he was unable to open his hand, amongst other things. And right around hour 4 or 5, he regained full mobility in his hand. Wow. I was the first person to give this man a high five in 8 years or something like that. So it's all interrelated, but a lot of people are seeking the soul work when you start doing that work.
Okay. Well, I know you're a daily channeler and a daily journaler. So can you just briefly talk about how that's worked out for you?
Well, I have to give a lot of credit to this group. You all have inspired me to just start this practice, to get it going. I'm such a believer. This is the bread and butter of what I work with my clients on, of getting out of the head and into the heart. And the way we do that is through pen and paper. It's through journal prompts. It's through sitting with yourself and connecting to self and listening. So I'm a writer, I'm an artist, very creative, but this has given me, for some reason, from day one, I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold myself accountable and start sharing. I'm just going to share, and I'm going to allow what comes up to come out, and see how people are receptive to it. And it's been just beautiful, the comments every day. And I look forward to doing it now. You know, I'm at 120 something days, or we're somewhere high up there. And it's just part of my routine now. And it's such an awesome way for myself to start the day. And it just amazes me that we're able to have an impact spread out around the world just by sharing our messages with one another.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see everything. And I love yours. I usually batch them up, get like 4, 5, 6 days, and then I'll read through them and go after them like that. So I should be better about the commenting, so you know I'm there, but
I know you're there. We're connected. Yeah.
Anyway, so how can the group help you with what you have coming up next?
I mean, the big thing is just keep helping each other. Just keep showing up as your authentic selves. Keep the love and support, not only in our group, but in our day-to-day life. If you're curious more about what I do, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always looking for referrals, but the right alignment in the work that I'm doing. I have such a clear mission and such a clear purpose to be of service. I've been through what I've been through in my life so that I can share and support and empower others. So as you're out in your life, in your day-to-day, and you meet people who may resonate with somebody like me, who needs a little tune-up or a little perspective shift on life, just feel free to send them my way. And I do the same for everybody out there. We're here to support each other. I believe in collaboration over competition all day. So just keep being your beautiful, bright selves out there. Keep supporting, the liking and the commenting. It boosts me on days that I'm feeling low. It's like, these are awesome, awesome reminders to keep sharing my gifts with the world.
Oh yeah, my feeling is collaboration is competition, in the sense that if we collaborate with each other, we're so far ahead of anyone that's not collaborating. It's crazy. And so why not do it? And as far as competition goes, it's like fishing in the Pacific Ocean, right? If you're fishing in the ocean and I'm fishing in the ocean, technically we're competing, but really, I don't think the fish look at it that way. You know,
As long
maybe
as we're not scraping the ocean floors clean, then
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Or
there's
maybe
enough
sitting
for
on the
all.
same boat. Anyway, we're probably blasted right through our 10-minute guideline on this. So do you, I'm going to collect your links for how people can get in touch with you or find out the things that you have going on, and we'll publish those along with the interview. But do you have any other parting concepts, ideas, or encouragements that you could offer us?
Just stay with love, my friends. There's so much talk of this new wave, this new world of consciousness that we're stepping into. And I feel like this group specifically, there's so much purpose why we've all been brought together. We were brought together under Sarah and Mike. And as they are not as active in this, there's those of us who it's just, let's keep building family. Let's keep fostering community virtually and out in the real world. So keep showing up as yourselves, and as you need support, we're all human. We have this roller coaster of dips and whatnot. Lean on one another. Reach out to me, reach out to David, just connect. This is what it's all about, is being connected. So just once again, thank you all for who you are in this world. And it's just been so cool and such a journey to be gradually meeting you all.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. And thanks everyone for watching this interview. And we're going to wave goodbye right now.